All right, another day, another Peter Benavente request. So, we're going to do Wicked Little Things, which is over here. An After Dark Horror Fest film, which I think I've done like... I did Dark Ride for somebody. I did Lake Mungo for somebody. Now I'm doing this. We've only got, what, like 40 more to go? So, yeah, maybe one day I'll actually knock out the entire After Dark Horror Fest line. But for now, let's talk about Wicked Little Things. Now, this is a film, and I saw all 4 years of After Dark Horror Fests when they came out. And some I remember, and some I don't. And this is one I didn't remember. No, I know I did see it for sure. And I did purchase all fucking, 8 of each year. 9 or so, the ones that didn't make it, like Captivity or Frontiers or Snoop Dogg's Hood of Horror, which I've actually never seen that one. But maybe one day I will. But anyway, so now, one thing I definitely did not remember was that this stars Scout Taylor Compton, Laurie Strode from Rob Zombie's Halloween 1 and 2, and also Chloe Grace Moretz, which I was just really surprised to see both of their names in the opening, and I was even more surprised to see that they were like the leads of this film, and that this film came out in 2006, right? Yeah. And Zombies Halloween came out in 2007. So this is 1 year before Halloween. So this is right before Scout would have her big break, so to speak. But yeah, so it starts with kids in a mine, and they are being forced to work down there, and one of them complains about having the black lung pop. Anybody? No. And they set off dynamite or TNT, which I've found out not super recent, but recently enough that those are two different things. I did not know that. Did you know that? Or am I incorrect? I heard that and I was like, they are? TNT and dynamite are not the same fucking thing? Huh, interesting. Movies are full of shit then. And please correct me if I'm wrong on that, but I swear I read that somewhere and I was like, they're not? Huh. And, all right, so before we get into the movie, this film is generic as fuck. This film is generic as fuck. I always tell people, like, when I review these movies, I don't care who requests it. I don't care what they're paying. I don't care. You're always going to hear my honest opinion. And that's what Peter would want more than anything. This movie is generic as humanly possible. For me. So, the film offers zero new to the franchise. Or the franchise. The genre. The subgenre. Whatever you want to call it. A family moves to town after the death of a loved one that left them some kind of a house or something in a will. This one, she inherits the house by finding the deed after the husband had died. He won't talk about he won't talk about his life in that town when he was a kid. And then they go there, and of course people are telling them, oh, it's no good. They talk to a gas station attendant, and the gas station attendant is a little off. He's not a bad guy. He's just kind of like, slow. There's some prospector guy in town that wants to open up some big property. So he's buying up all the land, says he owns the rights to the land. She wants to fight him on that. And then people start getting picked off one by some cursed dead people who come back for revenge. I mean, it's a story we've seen told just like this so many times. Now, this is an evil kids movie, Now I'm unclear of like what they are, because I don't feel like they're ghosts, because they're eating people in this. So it's like Cannibal Kid ghosts. The look of the kids as they're like, you know, stalking and coming at the screen and whatnot, they look okay. They look fine. I think that that might be the best part of the film. I just didn't really, you know, the family, while Taylor and the Scout Taylor Compton, I always want to call her Taylor, while Scout and Chloe and the mom are all fine. They're all fine. Nothing really stands out. I wouldn't watch this and go, holy shit, man, that girl should be the next Laurie Strode, you know? She's fine. Everybody's fine in the movie. Except for the rich guy who's like come to town to steal all the... His performance is way over the top and just terrible in my opinion. But besides that, everyone else is fine. But yeah, I found nothing that made this film stand out for me. While watching it, there was nothing that I was like, oh, I want to go back to this, or oh, that was cool or unique. I'm sure in my notes I'll find something in here that I'll say positive. But yeah, for the most part, just kind of my overall experience with the film throughout, and when it ended was, oh, well, that was fucking blah, you know? Anyway, all right, so they're driving into town, and one of the kids cusses, and, you know, the parent gets all, I don't, you know, you shouldn't speak like that. The whole, like, I think I've brought this up on the channel before, but, like, the whole your kids can't cuss thing is just so stupid to me. I've just never understood this phenomenon, this fucking, you know, tradition. Like, you're going to take... The English language is comprised of like 100,000 words or more. You're going to make 7 of them off limits to kids, and then you're going to wonder why that's all they use when they're in their rebellious teenage years. Like, if you never drew attention to these words, if no one ever like mentioned them, you know, I'm not saying not say them, but like never mention them as bad words. Like non-taboo things. Like you just said them here and there randomly. Kids would never say them. I mean, they'd say them here and there, but it would never be a thing. You sure as hell would not hear a bunch of kids, you know, hang around a bunch of like 13, 14-year-olds, 15, 16. Go like hang around them, like just stand like outside and just listen in on their conversations. Every other word is fuck. Every other word is shit. Whatever. You know, and of course, there's kids like me that like wanted to amp it up to level 11 and fucking, you know, throwing cunt and every horrible word imaginable that I could shock people with back then. Because they were offensive, because they were off limits. Of course we were going to do it. But yeah, if no one ever made a big deal about them. So this whole like teach your kids their bad words thing so they won't use them is idiotic. It's fucking idiotic. Okay, so please, everyone just drop that. Just drop it. So stupid. Anyway, moving on. Scout Taylor Compton's character is this bitchy teen. Where have we seen this before? Oh my God. Everywhere, even in life. And, of course, the husband's dead. I mean, as I said, the one parent's always dead. The house is inherited. It's got a dark past. The people are... generic. This fucking house that they go to live in, this mom should be ashamed of herself. There's no way that house is safe for kids to sleep in, to live in. There are rats running around everything. I mean, there'd be mold. There'd be freaking feces. There'd be all sorts of shit, man. Has this woman never heard of, like, anything ever? Like... There's so many things that could make these kids sick, and herself, of course, but you know, when you're a mom, you're mostly thinking about your kid's safety. But going into that house and like letting them, and then hilariously, like after everything is like dusty and moth-eaten and filled with cobwebs and this and that. And they just drive in with their car, by the way. Somehow they have like a perfectly nice bed to sleep in all together. So they just, threw sheets on some torn up piece of shit mattress and called it a day, and it was all fine and good. And then they even go into the other room and they're like, oh, well, someone slept in here before. Dude, fucking vagrants have shit and pissed in there recently. Like, what are you talking about? Yeah, there's some tweakers fucking in that bed like 2 minutes ago, I'm sure. And then, okay, so the plumber comes in, which is that actor from Zombies, freaking. He's been in a bunch of stuff, but that's what I always remember him from is Devil's Rejects, where he plays that country singer or whatever, and Baby comes and starts flirting with him. Can you say that again? So he's the plumber, and he comes downstairs and to the basement, and he's checking the pipes, and he's like, this exchange is fucking ridiculous. So he's like, all these pipes, the pipes in the basement that lead up to all the plumbing in the house, all these pipes are going to have to be replaced. And she's like, oh, like nothing. There's no fucking like she doesn't even look up from what she's doing. Like, I guess we're supposed to take it that she's so engaged in what she's doing, she doesn't even hear. Bullshit. Okay, anybody would be broken out of this. So, without even looking up, she's like, oh, well, can you finish that, like, quick, or something along those lines? And he's like, oh, yeah. I can have it done before nightfall because I don't want to be in this house past dark, whatever. She's not concerned about the price of replacing all the pipes in the house, and he's going to get that all done before nightfall. He has all the pipes, and he knows for sure he can get it done, and she never questions him about the price. She doesn't even look up from what she's doing when something like that would cost thousands of dollars. That exchange was absurd. When I was watching it, I was like, really? Really? On both sides of you? Really? You need to get this all done. And then, like, as if that's the only fucking thing wrong with that place. Like, oh yeah, just couple pipes replaced and you'll be good. Yeah, just throw on the sink and all will be well. Ridiculous. Fucking ridiculous. All right. Obviously, no. Everybody told me not to use cuss words when I was a kid, and look what happened. Look what happened. Okay, so stop it. Where was I? And she's not worried about the price? Question mark! Exclamation point. Some of the shit I mentioned. The first kill in the movie, if not all the kills in the movie, are lame as fuck. So the plumber's killed off screen. Bullshit, lame. Nothing worth reporting here. The crazy neighbor comes over and puts blood on their door. Yeah. So you live in a rodent-infested house that doesn't have water. It doesn't have fucking anything. And the crazy neighbor next door is smearing blood all over your door. There's a guy in town that's saying he already owns your property. Like, there's so many reasons to leave. It's ridiculous. Then the mom, who is just trying to win Best Mom of the Year, lets her 16-year-old daughter go out with some guys that she just met in the middle of nowhere, not knowing anybody, and without even meeting them. She's like, oh, come on, they're cool, they don't want to come in. And the mom's like, okay, well, go have fun. Really? Your 16-year-old daughter, in the middle of nowhere, you don't know the area, you don't know a single fucking person. Does your phone even work? How's the daughter supposed to even get a hold of you? And then you let her just go out with guys you haven't even met right then and there. And you're totally fine with that. I mean, this is what I'm talking about. This is not only is the movie generic, but it's just like every fucking thing that happens. I'm just sitting there like, come on. Bullshit. Bullshit. And yeah. Then there's this like reminder dialogue where the director treats his audience like morons, where like the daughter says something, voiceover to the mom as she like goes down to the basement. And it's like, dude, that was literally said like 2 minutes ago. Like, we remember. We're good, okay? Like, and if someone isn't paying attention, they can figure it out. They can figure out what's going on. And this is not some big plot point that's like, oh my God, why is she going into the basement? Why is she looking at those papers? I mean, what connection could there possibly be? Fuck, if only I had a reminder from earlier, maybe 1 minute ago. If they could just give me the fucking dialogue that was given 1 minute ago that was like 2 words. Holy shit, now I'm up to speed. Thank you so much. Okay. This is why I need to be hired for, at bare minimum, at the bare fucking minimum, I should be hired by some people to go in and just do a look over on the script. And just maybe little touch-ups, maybe just little notes, because they missed a major opportunity here. They're all smoking pot in a car, and these guys are trying to tell her, local ghost stories, whatever. I mean, this was the fucking premier opportunity to make an herb and legends joke. Come on. I mean, it was just sitting there. It was sitting there because he even says like, oh, you're just telling me urban legends. And I'm like, herb and legends? They're going over both right now? How could someone not see that joke set up? Come on now. Urban legends. Not sure why these kids are killing pigs. I mean, what'd the pigs do? They didn't force them to go down in the mines. I mean, that would have been an interesting flashback if, like, pigs were part of it and they were, like, pushing them into the mines with their snouts and they were like, get the fuck in there. I mean, make them talk too. Why not? It'd make the film better, in my opinion, if you had talking pigs that were forcing kids to fucking work in mines and set off TNT and or dynamite. And yeah, the ghosts need to eat. I don't got an answer for that one. Here's another, super original thing. A kid that has an imaginary friend, and the imaginary friend ends up actually being real. Write that one down in your fucking notes, because it's never been done before. And yeah, so all the kids in this movie, all they do every time they come and pick her up is, let's go park our car, smoke pot, and talk and make out, which is what kids do in places where there's nothing to do. So there's parking in small towns. When I moved to Cottonwood, Arizona years ago, well, actually when I moved to Sedona, I think at that time, Cottonwood, now I never looked up the statistic to be true, but it didn't surprise me, and it wouldn't surprise me if it was true. But at one point, supposedly per capita, we had the most pregnant teens in high school. That's one hell of a record to hold. So I think there's been a lot of that going on where I was around. Don't worry, I wasn't impregnating any fucking high school teens at that point. At that point, like, I've done it so much in my life. I've never done that. I promise. Fake out friend scare, and then the not fake out friend scare. So the friend comes in, scares them, but then gets pulled away, and they think it's a double joke, and it's not. Another super original one. And yeah, so they're eating humans too. So as I said, they're eating the pig, then they eat the humans, and it's like, why? Why eat the pig? Why kill the pig? That's what I'm confused about. Like, and the whole point of this was to just get back at that one guy. Then why aren't they going after that one guy? Like, what? I don't have a reason for why they're killing all the kids in the car and all that. I mean, I guess what? Their family was from there, but then these guys were married. You know, the mom in this was married to the dad whose family was a part of this, right? So, like, why did they just walk past them, kill the other guy, and leave him alone? If all you wanted was that guy, why didn't you just kill him? Like, why do all these other people have to die? Yeah, I don't know. I like how they go into the mine looking for Chloe Grace's character here. And there's a spider web that from head to toe is completely covering the entrance. Like, it's a little further in than the entrance, but it's like right inside. And she has to like break it apart to go through it. Don't you think that that area could be considered cleared? Because like she would have had to have broken through that to go back there. So if there's I mean, it's not like a spider was just like fucking zooming back and forth as soon as she went through and was like, I just made this whole fucking art piece here. Like I just saw it and I was looking at it, I'm like, it clearly no one has been in here in a long time. Like it is unbroken from fucking ceiling to floor. So that was annoying to me too. I was just like, why would you think she's in there? Look. The evidence doesn't support it. But it looks creepy, right? It just makes the mom look like more of a dipshit than I already thought she was. I do like that I like that the driver of the rich guy can't shoot kids. Because, yeah, I mean, even though you're seeing what you're seeing, like, shooting a child would be very difficult. Because how do you explain that to anybody? How do you explain that to the cops? How do you explain that to yourself? Like, I shot a kid. Like, I shot a group of kids. Like, at that point, they're just kind of coming at him menacingly. Yeah, they attacked the car for a minute, but I don't know. It'd be hard to pull a trigger on a kid, for sure. Like, I always talk about how we should just kill every one of these, you know, horror villains in these movies. Just take a gun, you know, as soon as you got one, as soon as you got anything, smash their heads in, this and that. But little kids, a little kid coming at you, it would be tough. Now, of course, it would depend on the situation, but as I said, at this point, they haven't really gotten, I don't know, enough that you're like, all right, I gotta kill these kids. Like, I get the warning. And then the other guy just shoots him straight. I thought that was pretty funny. He's a piece of shit. He just pulled it. He's like, fuck this. I'm killing these kids. And then the kids, of course, get up and just keep coming at him. Which with this, it's like, there's one thing I'll give the movie credit for. There really is no way out of this. Like, they don't go and talk to some, you know-it-all guy that's like, oh, you got to do this and this to this and that. Like, no. Like, this dude needs to die at the end. Like, you're not getting out of it. Don't even try. But I don't know. That's not really giving the movie credit, honestly. But I'm just saying, I'm so used to getting those kinds of movies where everything's so perfectly explained on how to get out of something, whether it happens or not. The spirits end up remaining after the guy's killed and the revenge is fulfilled. Okay, I don't know. The movie takes zero risks. And one of the reasons I think this movie is not very good is because it's an American production, and the likelihood that they were going to kill Scout Taylor, I was gonna say, or Chloe was so low that it was non-existent. There's never a moment in this movie where I thought either one of them was actually in danger. And if 2/3 of your main cast in a horror movie is pretty much untouchable, it doesn't really make for much, because these characters are not that interesting. They're a basic family that gives basic performances. The friends give the basics of basics. Like, her relationship with this guy, we're supposed to buy it. Like, there's, you know, they kiss and it's like, oh, I'm so into this guy. Where in this movie do we get any charm to this guy with her? Where do we buy that she's into him? Now, I get it. 16-year-old little girl, he's just cute. That's good enough, right? It's not good enough for me. Like, I'm going to buy their romance. I'm going to buy his death being tragic for her, whatever. I have to see some kind of bond. It can't just be him being like, what up? My friend's a douchebag and I'm not. So I guess that makes me the fuckable one and not him. Like, that's it? That's what you got for me? No, absolutely not. You got to build something more than that. Make me like this guy a little bit. Or not. Make him a piece of shit. I don't care. Make him interesting. Make him memorable. There's nothing memorable about anybody in this movie. Like, I've said this a million times, but this is the kind of movie you watch, and within a week, I'll have forgotten pretty much everything about this film. Like, I'll have to come back to watch this review to even remember anything. And even while I'm watching, I'll probably be like, kind of remember that. Kind of don't, actually. It sounds terrible. Like the way I'm describing it, which, yeah, it's not far off. It's super generic, which is like the biggest crime that any horror movie can commit. I think I said convict. I don't know what the hell I said there. Anyways, so there you go, Peter. My honest thoughts on Wicked Little Things. Yeah, adios.